Hey everyone, welcome back to Deja on Demand. If you are new here, I'm so glad you found us. To put it short, in this podcast, we talk about literally everything. So if you want to hear something new, make sure to check out my Instagram stories at Deja on Demand and let me know what you think. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about friendships and how to go about them, basically. Honestly, I think this could probably apply to relationships too. I don't know, never been in one. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. Before you do anything concerning a friendship, you have to be comfortable in who you are. The worst thing to do is to put on a front just because you want to be part of a certain crowd. Trust me, I know this from experience. It does not work out. You have to be okay with either being weird or super smart or super dumb, or even a mix of all three. If you walk around faking it, you will always have this sort of pit at the bottom of your stomach where you feel like you aren't telling the truth to the people around you and you're a phony. You also have to be ready to let others in. So being in a friendship that you want to last requires full transparency, which means you have to be vulnerable. So if they're really your friends, they should not mind you spilling your guts every once in a while. I'm that friend where you can come to me and tell me anything and I'll give you the best advice possible. I'm not necessarily that receptive to emotions, so I can't comfort you like if you're boohoo crying as much as I would like to, but I don't mind you crying on my shoulder. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably doesn't. What does being vulnerable have to do with being your authentic self? You have to understand that either you're a super emotional person or you're not that emotional, or you have a hard time with your emotions. And you have to be okay with that before anybody else can be okay with that. After you have come to terms with who you are, you're comfortable in who you are, and you're ready to create a long-lasting friendship, not just these things that are just like, hey, how you doing, talk in class, leave, and do the same thing every day. So when you're just becoming friends with someone, it's important that you both establish boundaries with each other. That doesn't mean you like sit down at a table and you're just like, okay, you can't do this, but you can do this. You can't do that, but you can do that. That's not what I'm talking about. It just means that if something they say or do triggers you, let them know and tell them that you don't want them to say that or do that around you. Frankly, most boundaries are established as the friendship progresses. You're not going to know everything at one time. You have to get to know each other, and as both of you open up and let people in, they will tell you certain things that mess with them, or you tell them certain things that mess with them. Now, some things that you should bring up is like a food allergy, because the worst thing to do is to like bring your friend like some homemade brownies, or I've done this before. I still kind of am addicted to hot Cheetos, but I was super addicted at the time. And so I like gave it to multiple people and was going to give it to my friend Jenny. Unknowingly, she is allergic to capsaicin. She's allergic to that. And that is a very active ingredient of what makes food spicy, which is also in hot Cheetos. It's in a lot of things. And I wasn't aware of that at the time, because I think we had just met like a couple of weeks before, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad because I just offered you something you're allergic to, and now everybody around you is eating it. I felt bad, but she told me it was okay. So those are things you should bring up. But other than that, I feel like I will say this a lot, but a lot of things just come organically. And here I'm just talking about things that you should probably do that won't come organically for some people. So when you first meet someone, there is always that small awkwardness at first, and you don't know what to say or what to do because it kind of feels like you're tiptoeing around them because you don't want to say something that offends them, or you don't want to just come off really strong. Sometimes I come off strong, sometimes, but most of the time I'm like super quiet, and then people are like actually surprised when they realize that I have energy. When they realize I have energy, they're like, whoa, I thought you were just like this quiet little girl. I didn't think that you were like low-key crazy. You have two options when you get to those awkward moments. You can either let it remain awkward and you guys will probably just go about your business and probably like not talk to each other that often, or you can tell a story or ask them questions about themselves or crack a joke. Spark up a conversation, and if they laugh, if they seem interested, if they keep talking to you, boom, you have just secured a potential friendship. Now let me just say this is so off topic, but while I was typing this, I kept wanting to say you have just secured the bag and not you have secured a friendship. I just thought I'd put that in there. Now the beginning of every friendship won't be like that. I for real don't remember how my friends and I became friends. The only one I remember is my friend Matthew, and that's because I had just moved to this new school, and you know, you get those first memories and those kind of stick because those are like milestones of your life, right? Not to say that my having friends was a milestone, but those are just like huge milestones. So you remember like your first memories there. I remember I was put in the back of the class because there was no more room, and he was the only one back there at the time. So I sat next to him, and it was just us two in the back row. And so it kind of just happened. Like I can't tell you like what conversation happened or like anything that I did or he did. It just kind of happened because we were the only two back there. But we had first period together in 8th grade, which was pretty cool. The other two in my circle just happened. It's almost like they just appeared. Like, I don't know about Caleb. I really don't know. I just know that all of us are at ROTC together, but Matthew's the only one that I didn't meet in ROTC. And then Virginia, I don't know. I feel like they just appeared and like never left, which is like fine with me. But I feel like you get to a point in your relationship or your friendship and you're just like, how did we meet? Like, I don't even know what the conversation was. I don't know what day, what it looked like. Like, some people can full on tell you when they met their best friend, like the exact moment. I can't. Now, maintaining a friendship. So when it comes to maintaining a friendship, I feel as if I have a pretty good handle on this, considering my track record of losing friends. Now, I don't lose loads of friends that often. Like, it's just every couple of years, which I feel is pretty normal, you know? It teaches you what friends you are looking for and also what kind of things you should probably work on yourself. The first friend I remember losing was like in 6th grade, and we had an argument over something. I can't remember. 6th grade, years ago, which is crazy. I feel like it was yesterday. Then I lost another friend, 8th grade, and then my freshman year, I lost a friend. When you think about it, they're kind of close together, but like 6th grade, 8th grade, and freshman year are pretty big like milestones in your life, because 8th grade, you're like, I'm the king of the school. Then freshman year, you're like, back to the basics, back to where we were not too long ago, little children of the school. But those friendships, I feel like, all ended on something petty and something like immature. So what that taught me was not to just let a friendship end over something so stupid. Like, that is what I got out of it. So I decided that I'm not going to just like, you know what, I'm done with this after like a petty argument. Like, that's not how friendships work. Like, if you're really friends, you'll work through it and you'll come back together. So hopefully you have chosen a good group of friends, because that does have a factor in whether or not that friendship would last. For instance, in middle school, I was so, oh my God, it's low-key embarrassing, but I was so caught up in trying to be popular, like so popular. Like, I wanted all the friends. I wanted this crowd of people to like me, and I wanted that crowd of people to like me, that I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. So after freshman year, I decided that I wasn't gonna try and fit in anywhere. I was just gonna be myself and let friendships kind of happen. But I think a lot of teenagers go through that wanting to be popular phase. And some people it works and you're living your best life. Congratulations. But it doesn't work for me. I wanted to be popular, but I'm not that person. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna totally contradict myself. I don't like people. Like, I want it to be popular, but I don't like people. And I don't understand why I want it to be popular when I don't even like people like that. Like, that, ooh, it's just like anxiety right there. Just like a lot of pressure on you, like trying to please. Now that I think about it, like, in hindsight, like, it would have been so much pressure in middle school trying to please every person and try to make every friendship work when you could put all that energy into a small group of people. So when I got to high school, I said, if I want to be the best version of myself, I want to be so successful, I have to surround myself with people who are striving to do the same, people who support me, people who are just good people. And so, in a way, I did kind of want to be part of a certain group of friends, but also really didn't, because it wasn't me trying to like change myself for these friends. It was me just realizing that these people are pretty cool too. Let me be friends with them. I also realized that, like I said before, having a small group of friends is not that bad and also a lot more fun, because instead of putting energy into multiple people, small bits of energy into multiple people trying to please everybody, I can put that same amount of energy into just my like small group of friends, and it's a lot more fun. Like, when it's just a small group of y'all can just go places and do things, and you just have fun together. So back to maintaining. I mentioned before that to maintain a good friendship, you have to have full transparency with your friends. So this means telling your friends how you feel, or if something they did or said affected you. That doesn't mean you full on cuss them out. I never resort to that. That is not good. Yelling and screaming at each other is not going to help the situation. Instead, say something like, hey, what you just said or did is actually very hurtful or disrespectful or both. And I don't want you to say things like that around me because it's offensive. They should respect you, and they should also respect your friendship enough to not say or do it again. A good response would be like, I get it, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, and I'm not going to do it again. I feel like my friends and I have a good handle on that, especially me and Virginia, because even though we're like not the most outspoken people, I'm a little more outspoken than her. We still vocalize when something is like messing with us. So it's just like, hey, don't do that. Or, hey, don't say that. That's really mean. Like, we don't say the R word. And I'm not going to say it right now. So when people say it, we let them know, like, hey, don't use that word. R word is a bad word, okay? So another thing that can help maintain your friendship is hanging out with them. Now, this is the fun part of like any friendship. Hanging out with your friends is so important, and making time for them, because you make time for the ones you love. And so making time out of your weekend to go to their house, or they come to you, is so much fun, and it's really important to hang out outside of school or work. This is a great way to get to know each other personally. I've done this plenty of times with my best friend, and I can honestly tell you that it's so much fun to just hang out with each other. During these sleepovers, like towards the end of the night, we'll like turn off all the lights, and like if we're watching a movie, we'll either go to her room or my room, or we'll turn off the laptop if we're watching on my laptop, and just talk. Now this is, I feel like, the best part of a sleepover. Just like staring into darkness and just talking about random things, because you get to know each other a little more. You realize that you have almost like the same thought process, or you have the same weird thoughts, or it's just talking. And talking is super important. Like, you have to talk to your friends. When I say talk, it's not like, hey, how you doing? Da, da, da. Like, talk, like go into have a deep conversation with your friends. That's what I should say. It's important to have a very detailed, deep conversation so that you get to know people. Get to know your friends. And also afterwards, you kind of feel a little bit more like you close and connected, because you realize that you're so much alike. So when I say talk, like talk at lunch, talk at a sleepover, texting or FaceTiming, whatever it is, however you talk. Communication is key in a friendship, especially during this pandemic, because I used to see my friends every single day. We used to walk to lunch together, and if we end up seeing each other in the hallway, we walk to class together. Like, we saw each other every day. And with this pandemic, Caleb and I are doing it virtual. Matthew and Virginia are in school, so we don't talk as often as we used to, which is so weird because I'm so used to talking to everyone every day. Like, I see Caleb in the morning, then I see Matthew and Virginia in the afternoon, and then I'll end up seeing Caleb in the afternoon because we have the same lunch. Like, it's just weird not talking as much as we used to. So to make up for it, I text them and ask how they're doing, if they're doing anything new, what's happening, because I don't get to talk to them like I used to. Now, with that, I don't have anything else to tell you because, number one, can't think of anything. Everything else just flow naturally. And two, I'm still working on making my friendships last as long as possible. So if I have any more tips, I'll let you know via Instagram stories probably. Or maybe like next year when I have like some immense like wiseness just come into my brain. But that may not happen. So unfortunately, we have reached the end of the episode. I know, so tragic. I'm like the worst person in the world right now, and you're hating me and you're crying. However, there's a new episode every single Sunday, so make sure you subscribe and have your notifications turned on so you never miss an episode. If you like the show, and even if you didn't, make sure to leave a rating and review down below. And if you forgot the Instagram, don't worry, just check out the show notes or the description, whichever one you like to call it, and click my links to find all my socials. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Mwah. This podcast is brought to you by Pearls Community Restoration, healing the soul to restore the body.